Hello and welcome everyone, Lana here, and today I've got a battle replay sent in by Paladin Bob, and it's a medieval 2 total war 4-player free-for-all battle. Paladin Bob is playing as Wales. We have a Swissman15 who also has his own YouTube channel, which I'll have linked in the description, playing as Norway. Flying on over to the bottom of the map, we have Charlie playing as England, and the Iron Price playing as Scotland. So, got it on like super slow speed right now just so that we can go through who's got what. We probably won't be focusing too much on Scotland and England. I'll try and pause and kind of pop over to see how these guys are doing, but I'm really trying to focus from Paladin Bob's point of view, and just looking at the proximity of him to Swissman, I assume these are, these two are going to clash, and those guys are going to clash. But you never know, they might swing up here, but we'll go through all the units in a moment. Paladin Bob did mention in his email that he sent this in, this is his SCHILTROM formation, or SCHILTROM new box formation that he was trying out for this. No cavalry in his build whatsoever, but this is like kind of pure anti-cav. So let's go through his units, then we'll take a look at Swissman's playing as Norway. I've got it on like super slow speed, so the game is actually running while we're doing this. So obviously, key part of the SCHILTROM new box formation that he's gone for here, he's described to me, is his spearmen. I'm probably going to avoid saying the actual Welsh ones because I know full well I'm going to absolutely fail at them, guys. So my apologies that I'm missing out on them. Also, if anyone knows how I can re-enable floating flags in replays, I can't seem to re-enable them. I can't find them in the settings anywhere. I have no idea where my floating flags have gone. So if anyone knows how I can re-enable them, let me know. So sorry if it's a bit confusing, kind of working out who's where doing what at various points. I'll try and make it as clear as possible. If we get into any big clashes and there is any elements of confusion. But yes, so we've got 6 units of spearmen of the... I'm gonna give it a go for this one. Morangwig spearmen? No idea. But they're heavily armoured, as you can see. He's got them in SCHILTROM, and they are filling up the gaps in between his elite archers here. And I believe 1, 2, 3 are these the same ones as well? Yeah. He's got 6 of those which have deployed stakes at various points around, creating this like we've got like a kind of pentagon sort of thing, or hexagon sort of shaped object. Although he's now moving up the formation a little bit so he can start skirmishing against Swissman. So yeah, he's got the stakes in place to deter any cavalry strike against his forces straight away. In the centre, he's gone for his axemen, 2-handed axes, again heavily armoured. They'll be good at cutting through the knights that'll be coming at him. He's also got a couple of units of Welsh skirmishers, again for that armour penetration with those javelins that he can use to take on his enemy. I don't actually know which unit is his general's unit here. I assume it's probably one of the spearmen, because he's brought no cavalry whatsoever. So this will be interesting to see how he fares. He's got some mortars in the centre as well, and he's obviously going to try and use that to draw his enemies into him so that he can stay positioned where he is. Now it looks like Swissman has thought of this himself, and he's brought 2 serpentines, artillery, or rather 1 serpentine. It comes with 2 of them, and he's got a lovely elevated position here onto Paladin Bob's position, where he can just fire on down. So Swissman has not gone light on the cavalry. I should say the rules for this were no real rules. Paladin Bob was saying that this group of kind of friends and players that he plays with, for free-for-alls, they just like to, kind of have fun with it. They don't put really any restrictions or any kind of major rules in place, so they can just, have some fun and see what kind of crazy tactics like the SCHILTROM formation that he's gone for there kind of can be created. So Swissman, he's got his Hussars on each flank, unit of those. Then he has the Norse War Clerics, which I believe have maces. Yes, they do. Chivalric Knights, General's Bodyguard, Feudal Knights, and more War Clerics. And then in front of those, it looks like he's got his melee line, dismounted Hussars. I assume he's mirrored this formation on both sides. So yeah, dismounted Hussar units on both left and right flanks. Gotland Footmen, Scotland footmen, which are the two-handed swordsmen for Norway. More dismounted Huskarls, and another unit of Gotland footmen. So four dismounted Huskarls and 3 Gotland footmen as his infantry line. And then in front of those, he's brought semi-axemen, and he's brought 3 units of those guys. So again, going to be able to bite on through any kind of armor they come up against, hopefully. Although with no shield, they will be susceptible to archers, which obviously Paladin Bob, playing as well, has brought plenty of missile troop. Norway, Swissman, he's brought 2 units of Norse archers. We'll see how that does. We'll briefly go and take a look at these players, although if you would like me to kind of cover this engagement between Scotland and England in, I guess, like a separate replay, then feel free to let me know. But we'll see, because obviously if one of these guys comes out of this battle with a fair few units, it's going to be quite important later on in the engagement. But very briefly, let's take a look at the Iron Price. He's brought Highland Nobles, 4 units at the back here, which are his two-handed swordsmen. 4 of them. Dismounted Feudal Knights, 2 of those there. Looks like he's brought 4 in total. Then Noble Swordsmen, 2 units Noble Swordsmen, 3 units Noble Swordsmen, 4 units. So 4 Noble Swordsmen, 4 Dismounted Feudal Knights, and 4 Highland Nobles make up a very melee strong force for Scotland. And then we can see he's brought 3 units of mailed knights, Feudal Knights, and way up the front here we've got the General's Bodyguard going for it. So I can't see any archers, although there's more Feudal Knights over here. He's brought a total of 4 Feudal Knights. Okay, lots and lots of cavalry then. So no missile troops for Scotland, not messing about at all. He's just going, looks like, for massive cavalry charging and infantry smashing up against England, who's brought 2 units of trebuchets for a total of 4. General's Bodyguard at the back there. We have 2 units of Knight Templar out on the right there. Retinue longbows make up the missile troops, and it looks like there's 4 of those along the front line. Dismounted Feudal Knights, 4 of those behind the archers, and armoured swordsmen, like 3 of those behind defending the trebuchets. And he's put lots of stakes over on that left flank. Nothing on the right that I can see, besides for 2 more units of Knights Templar. Be interesting to see if they can hold against that massive might. Although Scotland's moving forward, they're just kind of rushing forward. Guess it doesn't hurt actually to have the formation kind of spread out like this, because up against those trebuchets it is going to hurt. But anyway, we'll pop back and see how they're getting on later on in this battle. If you would like me to do a version of this battle kind of focusing on their perspective, then feel free to let me know. But here we go, going to 1 times play speed, focus on Paladin Bob again. Sorry that we don't have the flags up to tell, but hopefully we can, we can make sense of it all. So that first shot from Swissman's artillery, blasting on in to the centre, and that's going to be a problem for Paladin Bob. Well, he does have this nice defensive formation. These guys in SCHILTROM are going to be wonderful targets for that artillery if they decide to fire at him, and he's actually spread out this first unit of spearmen, the ones that are at the front, into loose formation, because I guess he's sensing that Swissman may well try and do this. And we can already see some cavalry probing round on the left flank from Norway, from Swissman, looking for any exposed angles. There might be a little bit of room to get in around the SCHILTROM if it doesn't get caught up, but it could quite easily fall into the stakes. And we can see Swissman is actually starting to push forward, perhaps getting pounded a little bit by those mortars that Paladin Bob has brought. And he does have the cavalry. He can go for the envelopment if he wants to. It looks like that's what he's going to go for a little skirmish there. I'm just going to slow things down again. I'll probably do this a couple of times just so that we can swing on over here, because it looks like England and Scotland are wasting no time. The Iron Price going up against Charlie. They are crashing on in here together, so let's just get an idea of what's going on. You see the mailed knights, it looks like they've gone in for a charge against the Knights Templar, or they've been countercharged by the Knights Templar. They're now withdrawing. Feudal Knights have been broken in the centre by more Knights Templar, but they've taken a bit of a pounding as well. Feudal Knights now charging on in, and they're going to be met by the dismounted Feudal Knights of Scotland as well. A pretty even match up there. Meanwhile, Scotland is pushing forward Iron Price with more of their infantry in the centre. You can see the General's Bodyguard actually has gone balls deep straight away into, I think he's trying to get an early charge on those longbows, and he's been met by the English General's Bodyguard from Charlie. Does have a few more men. Looks like they're trying to pull these guys back now, being supported over on the left by the feudal knights. Perhaps they might be sent on in. Meanwhile, this is just a massive screen, this cavalry engagement, for the infantry to push on forward. So we'll come back and take a look at how that's developing in a little bit, but let's move back up to Paladin Bob versus Swissman over here. I've got to admit, I cannot for the life of me understand why Code of Assembly have not, since Medieval 2, included free-for-all modes in multiplayer. Surely it's not a complicated bit of coding. You know, they don't have to worry about AI, surely, for this sort of thing. Surely it's a very easy thing as well to just say, just AI attack everyone if they're worried about the AI. You go the Huskarls, they're going in against the Schiltrom, they're going to try and break it, but they're going to get absolutely wrecked, surely. They had 30 to start with, they're getting absolutely wrecked. Yeah, they've gone, they've broken straight away. And we see more of the cavalry from Norway charging in here, Norse war clerics going on in here. But yeah, I would love to see free-for-all ring introduced. I cannot fathom why it's not being included. Surely there can't be a lot of work in bringing that game mode online for multiplayer battles or custom battles. However, the dismounted Huskarls have found a gap in Paladin Bob's formation because he's tied up the Schiltrom. Spearman on both right and left with his axemen. He's brought in his dismounted Huskarls, but Paladin Bob's countered with his own axemen, which will munch on those Huskarls. Meanwhile, the rest of his forces have been able to deal with the cavalry probing from the rear, and the archers are going to have a lovely day, because actually there's not a lot of heavily armoured forces within Norway, apart from perhaps their cavalry, but a lot of them don't have, you know, kind of anti-missile bonuses. Not many shields involved, lots of just axes and two-handers. Gotland footmen coming in here. So actually this is working out quite nicely for Paladin Bob with the heavy melee, heavy missile rather focus of his army to counter the kind of heavy melee and cavalry focus of Swissman and Norway. So again, more of these guys charging in the Schiltrom formation though, proving its worth, holding these guys up so that Paladin Bob can keep on firing at them with all of his missile troops, his elite archers, his javelins, and he is doing a lot of damage to these guys. There we go, archers felling more of the dismounted Huskarls over on the left. The front, he is actually managing to hold his formation. If we just briefly, again, we'll slow things down because I'll go take a look at England and Scotland in a minute as well. But if we just slow things down, we can still see Paladin Bob has been able to keep the shape of his Schiltrom formation quite nicely by keeping up the Schiltrom, basically, with those spear units. He's been able to hold this group of spearmen over on the right. Or spearmen, sorry, this group of spearmen, rather, is holding the Gotland footmen at bay for now. I don't know if he's put any upgrades on these guys or anything like that, but wouldn't be surprised. They're holding quite nicely against the footmen. Archers, though, are just picking off loads of targets because his troops are heavily armoured. They do have shields. Because he's potentially not too worried if he is firing into his own men a little bit. They should be able to survive a bit better than the Norwegians. In we go. The two-handed axemen, though, probably should be about to bring down the dismounted Huskarls here, I would have thought. Again, really surprised that these guys are holding so well. I would have thought that the axemen would have chomped through these guys, but it looks like they're so heavily armoured, the spearmen, that they're actually holding their own quite nicely against these guys. Over on the left, again, he's thrown in his two-handed axemen against the Gotland footmen, and they're doing pretty well there as well. And I can't see any more of the cavalry. There's some... It's all being kept back over on the right. The artillery is still firing up on that mountain there, and he's got his general's bodyguard way back there. He's also brought up his Norse archers, but they're surely quite outnumbered. It doesn't look like Paladin Bob's focusing too much on that, but he's got enough of the Norwegian infantry to worry about. Just seen some more cavalry over here from the chivalric knights. They're slowly marching in. I wonder if they're going to fall victim to some wonderfully placed Welsh stakes, but we'll find out that in a bit. Let's just go over here. We can see a flaming trebuchet shot screaming across the sky, about to go on in to the English and Scottish over here, although it looks like it's going to fall a bit short. Yep. So let's see how Scotland and England have gone on so far. Well, all the longbows are fine at the back here still, pretty much. Armoured swordsmen have broken, and it looks like Iron Noble's going in for a massive charge. It looks like Scotland, their kind of rush shock tactics with their melee focus and cavalry focus are winning the day so far for them against the English forces, who don't have the same number of melee troops to combat the Scottish. But again, the archer focus, the artillery, it might be enough to break some of the Scottish melee, and they might be able to break them down and enable them to hold on. Looks like English forces, though, getting enveloped by a fair few Scottish troops here. It looks like just the general is alive over here. General's bodyguard for Scotland, Iron Price, just holding on over here. They may be able to get a cheeky charge from the English general. From Charlie over here, just rearing up on his horse there, giving battle orders. Only a little bit of cavalry left, so actually, yeah, Scottish cavalry has just the last of them up against those Templars. But apart from that, the rest of the cavalry for both these guys has all gone. Let's return to Paladin Bob now and see how he fares with this Norwegian assault upon his defensive formation. The guy's constantly getting hit. Something I do like in this game, that when units do get hit by arrows, they get thudded back and they recoil from the impact, which kind of slows them down and works quite nicely. We've got these guys over here. They're surely not going to charge into those stakes.
Half the enemy force remains.
But we've got cavalry coming around the flank. Looks like they're going to try and do the same thing. Again, he's able to place his archers just behind the stakes with no real defense for them, because, you know, the cavalry should be kept up by the stakes. But cavalry's not instantly dying. Why is the cavalry not dying here? It's gone into those stakes. Surely that whole group should be dead. Is this a bug, or is this like a little exploit that people know of? Maybe you can walk through stakes. Looks like he's worked out the same thing over here, and he's now in the squishy underbelly of Paladin Bob's formation, although he is moving his spearmen in to take on those guys, and perhaps even throwing away some of his archers, some of his skirmishers here, just to pin the cavalry so that he can then move in with his spears. And he's actually just walking them in quite casually, you know, there's cavalry inside of our formation, no worries, man, no worries. Just casually going to stroll on in. Archers continue to fire, flaming shot, morale breaking, lots of damage there as well. Gotland footmen being pushed back, and these spears done really well against all the kind of armor penetration units that have been sent against them. They have done so well. That formation, very, very useful. I've actually never really found much of a use for the Schiltrom formation myself. It's nice to see Paladin Bob showing a great way of using it in a kind of compact defensive formation, where he actually, for the most part, controls exactly where his enemy can attack from, which is, you know, the small gaps either side of his spearmen, or into those spearmen with that Schiltrom formation, because everything else is defended by stakes. At least it stops the cavalry. Obviously, the melee infantry, as we saw, the axemen early on charging on through, and the Scottish general, the Iron Price, has fallen. That may seal the deal for Scotland there. It looks like Norway is pulling back. They've had enough of getting wrecked within Paladin Bob's formation. Don't know if they're going to try and draw him out to face them. They still do have their artillery up there, so they could harass them. Paladin Bob, I would have thought, so yeah, he's still got his mortars in here. Don't know how much damage they've done. We'll take a look at their stats at the end of this battle and work out how effective they were. But he has held, and these units at the front, I am surprised they've actually still got the men in them. That is super effective. I need to play as Wales sometime. Just so this is Medieval 2 with the Britannia kingdoms expansion. Oh, what just happened there? Was that an artillery shot? What the hell happened there? Anyway, while those guys are pulling back a little bit, we're just going to slow things down again one last time to see what's happened to England and Scotland, because I think someone is about to get wrecked over here. About to get wrecked. Someone has got wrecked, and it is the Iron Price in Scotland. England has prevailed. They have got a unit of retinue longbowmen breaking over there, but the nobles are breaking. The Highland nobles trying to reform, but I think the archers are going to get them. These guys are actually charging toward them, looks like, but they've broken. And I think England is going to win the day here, and it's going to be very interesting to see who England goes after. I would imagine that if England wants to win this, they need to team up with Norway to take on Paladin Bob, and then England can smash down an already weakened Norway. Because Paladin Bob, I would have thought, probably has the most forces right now. Actually, not probably. I'm pretty sure he definitely has the most forces right now. So Charlie doesn't have any melee troops left. No cavalry either, by the looks of things. So he goes General's bodyguard still. There's some dismounted feudal knights in there too. But he's got his longbowmen. As long as they've got ammunition, they are still a very high threat for the other players that remain.
The battle seems to be behold how our cowardly foe runs.
So I imagine that is Scotland, because obviously everyone is a foe to Paladin Bob right now. It's free for all. It looks like Scotland has gone. Mortars still firing. I don't know where they're firing though specifically. Kind of hard to see. That Serpentine artillery up on the cliff. Still firing shot after shot. Looks Looks like he's trying to hit these archers, or perhaps even the Schiltrom formation at the rear. He's got these units that have, I mean, they've taken a bit of a battering, but they're still pretty good. They're in good nick. Oh, you know, he's going after the archers here. Surely it would be better to go after the heavily armoured group there. I mean, they're potentially a smaller target, but if you can get a nice shot in there, do wonders. And Paladin Bob, you know, credit to him, his formation, he's still keeping the formation strong. Really hard to see, but Schiltrom, 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 Schiltrom. Again, he's kept that, so... And he probably wants to keep that up all the while that he can see Norway still has cavalry. While he obviously could form up, he's going to be susceptible and could be flanked if he moves out of his current formation. So we've got the Norse War Clerics over here. Always found they weren't that great, but perhaps they are better in multiplayer. At least I've never really found much of use for them in single player because they always got wrecked. I mean, they're okay against light cavalry and obviously good at chasing down archers, but often when you came up against kind of feudal knights and lancers, you wanted your own feudal knights and lancers to counter them, and you just didn't have that without them. With those war clerics. They got the spearmen just kind of reforming, probably going to go back into Schiltrom. You guys do look pretty cool, all kind of armoured up in plate. Yeah, back into Schiltrom. So yeah, have you guys ever found Schiltrom pretty useful? Have you ever tried something out, something like this? It's quite a good tactic, especially something like free for all, where, especially if you were like placed in the middle and everyone was coming at you. It'd be very, very threatening. So it looks like we're just going for a bit of a reform here. It looks like Paladin Bob's moving up his mortar to see if he can probably bring, maybe even go after their artillery there within range so he can fire a few shots off. Let's see what's going on over here with England and Scotland. Looks like Scotland is fully routed now. Units running off into the distance. They've all been broken. I'm surprised actually. Again, those archers must have done a lot of damage with taking out those Highland nobles with no shields. Lots and lots of dead, littering the floor. Cavalry as well, all going down. That massive cavalry. I'm surprised they weren't able to go around for wide flanks. So I have to watch this again. Or as I said, if you want to see the fight between England and Scotland, perhaps in like a mini replay video at some point, let me know. Let's see what happened with their cavalry. I'm trying to look. It looks like they just all rushed forward here. There were no spearmen from England, so just they got bogged down.
He flees the field of battle. The battle is very... Our men have captured the enemy.
Oh, nice. Missed that. Where was that going on? Oh, was there... Oh, cavalry. They came on in. They tried to attack over here. They actually did a fair bit of damage to this unit. This unit had a lot more men when we last looked at it. While I was taking a look at England. But England are marching up over here now. They're slowly moving forward. They went for a charge in here. Were they trying to get in against the archers? I don't know what Swissman was trying there. Waters are firing though. Let's see. I think they're going for the artillery. Eyes peeled. Yeah, they're going for the artillery. Their shots just landed off to the right. The Swissman reforming what he's got left. What does he have left? He's got Axeman unit, Gotland footmen, dismounted Huskarls, another unit of Gotland footmen, Huskarl cavalry, feudal knights, and he's still got his 2 units of archers, which are relatively unscathed because they've not been involved in too much melee within this. Scottish troops fleeing over this way, and we can see England now moving forth from the carnage, the wreckage, the corpses of their battle, their clash over here. I'm guessing Charlie would have preferred to have, you know, at least some of his melee troops remaining to really be able to do a lot of damage. He's got 4 dismounted feudal knights, and has he got his general? I don't know if his general's fallen. That's surely not his general. No, we saw his general earlier rearing up, so he's lost his general as well. So he is going to be quite susceptible to melee shock, morale shock, and everything like that. So any flaming shot from Paladin Bob from his Welsh archers are going to do a lot of damage here. He's just starting to move out of his formation that served him so well so far. I'm interested to hear your own thoughts on this defense. Do you think it's a viable one? Obviously, you know, new boxing, it can be broken. But I think actually the placement of it, it's not your typical new box. He's actually, again, used that Schiltrom formation quite nicely. Actually, give it a go myself. How would you guys go about overcoming it? Obviously, you probably want to bring, if you knew that's what he was doing, you'd want to bring less cavalry, more infantry, probably with shields against his archers. I'm not sure if you'd want to bother with artillery, but maybe some trebuchets or catapults even just to fire in, or bolts. Against the spearmen in their Schiltrom, try and break them at, like, I guess maybe more of a, rather than kind of, he went for lots of individual strikes to try and probe the weak points of the formation, but he didn't really find any. He got a few rushes through, but I guess you'd probably want to try and feint attacks on the front Schiltroms and then burst through into the archers with melee troops through the stakes with a lot of your melee force. If you can, even trying to draw these guys out of formation. Well, he's going in for another charge here, but he's been put off at the last moment because he's seen that he's covered with the spears. He's just casually, again, casually walking them around, which is obviously great for the fatigue rating. They're all pretty fresh still. These guys are a bit winded. No, they've recovered quite nicely. Oh, that was a good artillery shot. That's what he needs to get. And he's using that to cover a charge from his Husscars, but they're getting shot at by the archers that are just standing right there, firing into them. The spearmen able to knock them away, although he has managed to rout this unit of Welsh archers here. Now fleeing, they're routing and broken. And England is arriving on the scene. Fresh new longbowmen, 2 units. General, 4 men left in that unit of dismounted feudal knights. He's bringing up his trebuchets. I wonder if what the chat was going on right now between, say, Swissman and Charlie, perhaps sort of saying, "Come on, help me kill Paladin Bob." I would have thought then that Swissman could probably take Charlie because he's got the cavalry. So maybe in fact he wants to ally with Paladin Bob, but then Paladin Bob is just going to have more troops, better archers. I would have thought, are they better than longbowmen? He's got more men that can overpower Charlie's forces, especially considering that Charlie has lost his general. Still don't know which unit Paladin Bob had as his general. I'm thinking one of these Schiltrom units. Could look through for the guy. We haven't seen a bit come up saying we've lost our general. He must be within one of them. Somewhere. He's normally standing out. I wouldn't be surprised actually if he's in an archer unit as well, but then you have to keep him protected quite nicely. Maybe he's hiding in the bush. God knows where he is. Maybe you guys have spotted him. Have you played like Where's Wally, but with Where's the General? Was there even like... There must have been a general, surely. There wasn't a general's bodyguard, but you still have a unit that... A man that represented his general, surely. Let me know if you spotted him. These guys now getting hit by those Norse archers. Yeah, looks like they're taking a bit of damage, but they're still holding up pretty nicely. The Norse archers trying to skirmish down and bring down Paladin Bob's spearmen in their Schiltroms at the front here. So that if they're not protecting these gaps in between the stakes, perhaps he can finally get in with his remaining unit of feudal knights and war clerics to do some real damage here. Giving it his best. Can he do it? I think with the number of units Paladin Bob has managed to save by going massively on the defensive for this free-for-all, he's going to win it, but we shall see. Can the combined forces of Norway and perhaps England, it's interesting to see what England does. Are they just going to stay out of it? Are they going to get involved? This could swing it. This is what I love about free-for-alls, though. It's so... could change at any moment. But yeah, what are your feelings on free-for-all? I think that, in a way, because, you know, people are quite, you know, talking about multiplayer modes, Total War Warhammer, and multiplayer kind of quite stagnant within Total War. You know, people wondering why they haven't revisited the Avatar Conquest system from Shogun 2, which seemed like a great addition. Obviously, that seems like it was, you know, be fairly complex, and, you know, they've got to do a significant amount of work into that. But just adding in free-for-all can't see how that would take a lot of resources, surely. I mean, maybe a CA dev is watching and is allowed to comment on that, but I mean, potentially not. But if I'd love to hear why, or if it's just something they haven't really thought about multiplayer-wise. I know obviously a lot of their focus goes into the single-player experience for these games, but Free For All just seems like a mode that you can just throw in. You know, you've still got all the maps. You just add in a few extra deployment zones or a few extra larger maps for Free For All. They don't have to be amazing. They just have to be like this, pretty much. They're pretty open. A bit of terrain here and there. But having just that option of no set teams, you just fight against whoever you want, and just the carnage that ensues, especially in something like Total War Warhammer, where alliances can be pretty frail at times, and everyone can have a bash at someone else. I've always liked the idea as well, I'd love to see this at some point, that within a battle, even if you were fighting alongside your ally, you actually had the option, should you want to actually backstab them within that battle and kind of declare war on them through that battle. So you could get a surprise attack. So you could kind of lure your ally into a battle against an enemy you both have, but then suddenly turn on them once the battle is nearly done. Because you have that kind of scenario going on within the... Is it the benchmark of the Shogun 2 graphical benchmark? And I think it's a historical battle you can actually fight as well, where your allies at the start are with you and then they suddenly flip sides. Which seems like a really cool mechanic that never kind of saw any more kind of evaluation and development from there. Anyway, I'm using this time where these guys are just kind of skirmishing each other out a little bit to share my thoughts, but feel free to share yours in the comment section as well. We have England over here. Are they going to start firing? They brought their trebuchets up, but the trebuchets are silent. The longbows are out of range as well. They've not been brought up. Surely they can start harassing Paladin Bob, because Paladin Bob cannot afford to move out of his formation here, really. I wouldn't have thought. So surely this would be the perfect timing for England to jump on them and strike. Let's just speed things up a smidge until things get going again. We can see Norway. Swiss man is moving in. He's sending his artillery crew. He must have run out of ammunition with them. He's trying to hold these guys up. Throwing in his axemen. They're going to slaughter them. Archers firing as well. Meanwhile, this is allowing Swissman to reposition over on the right. He's now throwing in his Norse archers. I would imagine at this point, just throwing them in because they've run out of ammo. And I'm surprised, actually, that these guys are still firing. But they must have a fair bit of extra ammo within their stats. Welsh skirmishers still here. They have their swords out. They're going in. Still going in for these shield. I just at this point wouldn't bother with them because we've seen that even his best melee units couldn't do anything against them. Although he is burning his own men a little bit, but I'm hardly one to talk about friendly fire. Going in. These guys are broken again. Flaming shot, morale damage, plus the accuracy of those Welsh archers. Javelins coming in as well. It's gonna hurt. The moment they clash with the Schildtrom, death. Flaming shots on them. Boom. England, though, remaining silent, although they are repositioning. I think perhaps they're going to go for Paladin Bob. Norway going in for a massive final push, and now this bit is open here because it's only 14 men. There's a lovely little gap. If you can get a good charge in here, you get into those skirmishers, do a lot of damage. Here's the charge. In he goes. That's looking pretty good. He's in. But the archers can now just rain death upon them because they've been slowed down. The momentum is gone. And I kind of feel that may well have been part of Paladin Bob's kind of backup plan anyway. If they do break through, you've got your archers spaced nicely back enough that you can just loose shot into them and kill them all. Now they're in against the axemen. They're gonna die. It's not working for them. Looks like they've nearly broken this unit, though, of spearmen with the war clerics going on in. Oh, wow, they're charging in, supported by the footmen. That looks really cool. Spearmen just walking forward, getting hacked to pieces now, actually. Paladin Bob bringing in the rest of his troops over from his left flank now, abandoning the Schildtrom formation that has served him so well now. To just see off Norway. Oh, what a lovely flaming shot in there. Oh, that hit his own man. Oh, another one bites the dust. Flaming shot on him. I'm waiting for England needed to act within that moment, because it probably could have used this to just really hammer a lot of damage into the melee and missile troops. I think Charlie, but he's being pretty honourable. Fair play to Charlie. He's being honourable here.
continue like
But I don't think there's any honour in a free-for-all. Here come the flaming shots. Is he going to hit anything? Nope. But it looked cool. Norway is thoroughly broken. He's actually sending out his Welsh archers here just to make sure they've definitely gone. Swissman has been defeated. And he's now just rushing forward with the last of his forces to take on England. I think he's going to take them with all those spearmen together, Welsh skirmishers. He can surely just overpower these guys. They don't have a general. They just have one unit remaining from the bodyguard. Their general fell a long time ago. 4 units of dismounted feudal knights. They're tired. I reckon morale is going to let England down this day, and Paladin Bob is going to be able to go for it. He's still chasing these guys down. Gotland footmen. The archers slaying them down with... They got mallets. Haha! Love it. Hand mallets. Got his archers here, just firing in little clusters, little groups, covering the advance of his forces. Flaming shot all the way, and going for that morale damage. He's brought up his skirmishers. Get a couple of throws in here. Oh, that just missed, thankfully. Otherwise, that would have been crispy Welsh. Going in with his spearmen, going in for a final charge. And that the charge, plus with the arrow fire, breaks these guys. They're still holding. Trebuchet's still firing, though. He's missing the shots because they're close. These guys aren't accurate enough when they're so spread out. He's pushed on in there. Dismounted feudal knights falling to the Welsh spearmen. And I think it is a resounding GG to Paladin Bob. But we'll not forget the Iron Price, Charlie, and Swissman. Of course, Swissman has his own channel. I don't know about the others, but that's the one that got linked to me in the email from Paladin Bob. Swissman does have his own channel, so feel free to check him out. I'm sure he's got his own battles and bits and pieces too. But yeah, GG to Paladin Bob. Paladin Bob sent me an 8-player free-for-all, a 2v2v2v2. So let me know if you'd like to see that at some point. I've also got some Napoleon Total War battle replays that have been sent in as well, that I need to do some epic 4v4s. So I'll be sure to do those soon as well. And in the meantime, if you do find any epic battles and want to send them in for me to cast at some point on the channel, then feel free to do so. You can find how to do that, where to send it, and all that jazz in the description of this video. Yeah, I like the SCHILTROM formation. It's good. How do you guys feel about it? Do you feel it was a good tactic to use, or do you feel, Lionheart just showed me like nearly 40 minutes of noob box? I think it was a viable tactic for the units he brought, and it worked well. Worked well. And actually, I don't mind a formation like that now and then. Last charge of the Welsh. Oh no, they've stopped because the charge has just scared the English away. Job done. That's surely got to be it. Yep, there we go. The Paladin Bob actually did, surprisingly, deployed the most men. I guess because his units probably aren't as expensive as the other units that were involved here. Interesting, though. Actually, it looked like Iron Price had a lot more men than the others. But fair play. Let's briefly take a look at the casualties inflicted. You can see 82 coming from, Welsh archers. 75 Welsh archers. Spearmen got 76. Pretty darn good. They held so well. The guy's not getting as many kills. 7 from those. But yeah, doing pretty well overall. That's what we like to see. GG. Well done to those guys. So yes, hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Take pride and join the Legion. Check out my affiliates and sponsors, XMG, Greenman Gaming, and Overclockers UK. Until next time, ciao for now.